acknowledging that, oh, sorry, the recording thing scared me. I would like to start off today's event by acknowledging that long before Canada was formed, the Stolo people of the river occupied the land on which UFE is located. They have lived in the Fraser Valley and Lower Fraser Canyon of British Columbia, and they spoke Hakamelam, also known as the Upper River dialect. UFE recognizes and honors the contributions that the Indigenous people have made and continue to make to our communities. The university supports Indigenous learners and seeks to incorporate Indigenous ways of knowing in the curriculum. With that, welcome to How to University student panel. Today, we have a handful of current UFE students from a variety of programs here to share their experience and answer questions you have. So let's get to it and meet our panelists. So first, we'll start with Caleb.
Hey everyone, I'm Caleb. I'm a fourth year psychology student at UFE, and I've only been to UFE for about 3 years for that duration because I transferred from Williams Lake.
Very cool. Thank you, Caleb. We'll go to Tanish.
Hello everyone, my name is Tanish Rathod. This is my end of the third year of my study. I'm currently doing Bachelor of Computer Information Systems. I welcome you all, and I hope you all have a great time ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanish. We'll go to Chloe.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe. I'm a fourth year student here at UFE, and I'm studying history and English. And I'm very excited that you're all here and wanting to learn how to be a university student.
Thank you, Chloe. And Prab.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the panel. I'm Prab, and I'm a third year UFE student, and I'm enrolled in BCIS. I'm very excited to share with you all my experiences and looking forward to it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you to all the panelists for those great introductions. I guess I should say I'm also a student. I am a fourth year kinesiology student here at UFE. And yeah, so let's get right into the questions. So question 1, what is the best piece of advice you can give for any new student? So let's just go back in that same order. So we'll start with Caleb.
So I guess the first thing I would say to any UFE student or anyone who's thinking about going to UFE is just ask a lot of questions and don't be afraid to ask. It's kind of a cliche thing to say, but it is true because sometimes the semesters do seem like they're a bit longer than other colleges, but it does go by really fast. So if you're not really asking any questions or anything, whether it be course material or resources for campus or on campus, then it's going to be a bit tougher to keep up with the work because sometimes it is a lot to handle for first year students from the transition from high school to university. So I think just asking a lot of questions, making sure you understand everything fully is just one of the best things to do for yourself.
That was great. Couldn't agree more. As they say, no question is a dumb question. Tanish.
Yeah, so adding on to Caleb's advice, I would like to say that when you're in a university period, try making connections, try building strong connections here at UFE because they can help you in whatever situation you're in the university, no matter it be studies, no matter it be personal. And you should also look for various methods and opportunities that are always on campus to get involved. In that way, you'll know your university better and it'll be very good for you. It's a very good experience to learn about the university and to get started with it. So I would like to say that these are my pieces of advice.
That was great. I agree. There's so many different ways to get involved in the university. And it's definitely great to do so. Chloe.
To add on to what my have kind of already said, make friends in your class. Like, If you're a first year student and you're in a class with 25 other first year students, you're all confused, you're all in the same boat. And making friends through that confusion honestly helped me so much in my first year. And meeting with people in between classes to bounce ideas off of them and just know that like you're not alone is really important. So making friends in your classes just to be like, hey, what does this mean in the syllabus is great to have. But also with having friends, like make time for yourself. It can be stressful and self-care is really important.
Couldn't agree more. Balance is the right spice for life. And Prob.
So I think from my experiences, being a first year student, it's really hard sometimes. But that's the best advice I can give is to explore all the resources available to you. So you should know like where to go for help and go through that process like at least once, so that in your like later semesters, you know where to go whenever you need some help. So that is a thing that really helped me in my first semester.
Great. Thank you, everyone. All right, question 2. Do you have any time management or studying advice you would like to share? So let's spice up the order. Let's start with Chloe.
Ooh, first up. For me, my biggest studying advice that I can give is find an environment that works for you for studying. Like in the library, the second floor is a silent space. For if you like silent studying, that's a great space to use. I don't like it personally. In my experience, I can't eat my carrots. It's just too quiet. I like a louder environment. So I actually like going into the student union building, and on the second floor, there's like a taco place. And I kind of like the busy, louder environment of like people getting food and like working on my work there. And also there's food, so that's a bonus. But just finding where you work best is my greatest advice for studying.
Yeah, Streets is supposed to open next Monday, so it'll be open right in time for everyone if they choose to go there and, grab a bite or study. So yeah, it'll be great. We'll go to Caleb.
Okay, so I think one of the things for me that worked, and it's something that I recently changed in about 2 years for a different kind of time management and study technique, is trying to do like at least a little bit of homework each day, just to make sure you're still in that rhythm and that mood of keeping up with the program and all the courses that you have. Because I find for myself, if I even go without like one day of doing work and I just like play basketball or something all day in real life, it just becomes like, oh, I can do it later. Oh, this deadline is like 2 weeks away. It doesn't matter. I can get it done tomorrow. So just that idea of procrastination starts to ever so slowly set in more and more and more. And then you're basically digging your own grave because you're thinking that, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I can do it tomorrow. But, oh yeah, goodness. And then, yeah, you can, I think just keeping a consistent schedule of when to do it, or as Chloe said, where you do your coursework is good, because then you're kind of building that state dependent learning, which in psychology that's what I'm studying. So a little bit of knowledge about that. But yeah, just basically just figure out a place that you want to do it and a time, and just keep trucking along with a little by little, because then you don't have to commit a lot of time to it, and it's easier as well if you're doing it in little chunks as well. Then the task doesn't look so big.
That's great. I definitely agree with that. We'll go to Prob.
All right. So I think for like study or even time management, it is really important to plan your day ahead, so that you don't have to think like what you want to do on your day itself. So plan it out before. And the other thing I want to recommend everyone is also to like in your each day, include some physical activity. Like that's really important to have the overall balance for yourself.
Active body, active mind, as they say. It's definitely a good way to go about it. And Tanish.
Yes, so adding to all the things that my other panelists said, I would just like to say that yes, it is important to make a timetable. What I do is I make a timetable for my whole week. In that, I divide my work schedule and my study schedule, and I divide them accordingly. In that way, I know when to do what. And as Caleb said, that you should do it in chunks. That's what I do too. If I want to study about a subject in a semester, I would rather do it in chunks and just revise it before my class. I'll just wake up an hour before and then just revise what all I studied in the week. In that way, everything is fresh in my mind and you can grasp accordingly to the next class. That's my piece of advice.
Definitely some great advice to deal with stress and management. Thank you, everyone. Also, there's we have a basketball court, and I guess you can play badminton or tennis or volleyball or whatever you choose outside the student union building. And yeah, you can rent out a ball or anything if you come by the student union office. And yeah, it's a great way to relieve stress and also just have some downtime as well, along with all the other great suggestions that were mentioned so far. And moving on to question 3. So how do you handle the stress of a new semester? Kind of piggybacking off the last question a little bit. And do you recommend any coping strategies for dealing with stress on a new semester's basis? Oh, and I guess sorry, we'll start with Prab this time.
All right. Okay. So for the stress management, I guess your time management is the important factor. As I said before, like planning out the things before should be your like priority. And for me, it kind of works out if I balance the things out. Like it doesn't work that way, like you're just studying 24/7. So include time for yourself, for your body, for your overall like mental health, and as well as devote your time towards study as well. And the other thing I want to recommend is never to leave your work onto the last date. So you should be consistent from first day to the last. And I think that would reduce your stress for overall semester.
Definitely, procrastinating can be dangerous. But yes, Prab, that was great. And we will go to Tanish.
Yes, I know it can be pretty stressing when you just go into a new environment and just see all the new faces, and the instructor is like, okay, and he presents you the course syllabus, and then you're stuck what to do. Just to add up to what Prab said, you should just not procrastinate at all. One disadvantage of that also is that you don't remember what you studied if you do it at the last day as compared to the first day you do it. And just think it as a goal, think that you're here to study. And when you have a positive mindset, stress always comes down. And another coping strategy I use is I go to the gym. I give myself 1 hour, no matter what happens, because it helps me de-stress my mind and helps me just to keep myself motivated. And that's what I used to do when I was at my first semester. I currently do it too. So I would like to tell you all that even if it's not the gym, just see any recreational activity that you want to do. Just give yourself time to do it. In that way, you would not be stressing out just about the semester. Thank you.
I agree. I use the exact same method as you, Tanish. Definitely helps. And Caleb, we'll go to you next.
So one thing I think would be a good idea is to, as probably I mentioned in some of the other questions earlier, by getting involved in around UFE through resources and stuff, there is actually 2 resources that can help with the stress levels and how to decrease them. The first one is PASS, Priority Access to Student Services. So I think that's what it's called. So if you are having a little bit of trouble in your studies, you can ask them. And if you do have, like, for example, you break your arm or something and you can't really write the exam, or if you're just having a lot of anxiety and you need a bit more time for the exams, I think you can ask PASC and they can contact your profs to maybe find some accommodations for that. And if you are having some trouble with the actual course material, and for example, if it's too hard or you're not understanding something, and even though the profs are really good at responding, sometimes maybe occasion happens where it's the weekend and they can't respond in time for your deadline, then the tutors on campus can also help you. You can book a free advising appointment at the stat center, and I think, I don't even remember what it's called. I'm drawing a blank for what is the thing in Building G again? The Academic Success Center. Yeah, that's what it is. So you can book an appointment at the Academic Success Center, and you can book an appointment with the tutor, and they can see if they can answer your questions. And most of them are, or all of them are, UFE students as well. So it does help that you have that familiarity. And yeah, the Center for Accessibility Services, yeah, is another great resource as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of great resources here at UFE. Thank you for sharing all that, Caleb. It's definitely a very, very helpful area, and great resources here at UFE. And Chloe.
When I start a new semester, I'm always a little bit overwhelmed with like what my week to week basis looks like. So I love my planner, tried and true. Like I'm a paper planner kind of person. And I like writing down when my class will be, seeing when I kind of have like gaps in the day. And I'm like, okay, I can have time to eat here, relax here. And then I know what kind of days will work best for studying and working. But then also I'll make time for other activities that I enjoy. I'm a rock climber. So in my week, like I need to make time for that as well. So by doing that and writing it down, you kind of see what your new semester will look like. And granted, you don't have to follow it to a T. You can make it flexible as you want, but just knowing what to kind of expect each day definitely helps with the overwhelmingness of it. And then also in the first couple of weeks of classes, like make friends, make connections in those classes. And, you can struggle together, you can succeed together, and it's very helpful.
That is very good advice, Chloe. Thank you. All right, moving on to question 4. How can you get involved on campus? And what are you involved in? Let's start with Caleb.
Okay, so how to get involved would be just asking around. You can check My Campus Life for different job opportunities and also events. For example, I know Glow Yoga is an event at UFE. I'm not sure if it's coming back this year. It probably might. And there are also things like Long Night Against Procrastination, which is very fun. I remember I won a prize, even though I didn't know I won one. So my friend actually had to tell me at midnight the next day that you won. I was like, huh? I won? What did I win? And I think I won the grand prize, or runner up or the grand prize. And just checking My Campus Life, the first time I went on there was mind-boggling because there were so many events that you could choose from and so many job opportunities. So I think that's probably the easiest and quickest way to get access and information for all the resources and events on campus. And secondly, I just forgot the question.
Oh, the question is,
Yeah.
how can you get involved on campus, and what are you involved in?
Oh yeah, okay. So the second part, I'm involved in UFE Lead as a L2 mentor for the 3rd year. So that would be something you can apply for at the start of the year. I think in February or March, they start issuing out different programs to get started or different ways to get started. For example, you do a carousel interview if you want to join, or if you want to join as a 1st-year student. I'm not sure if they'll accept like 2nd-year students or not, but 1st-year students to UFE, for example, can join through the email. You just contact them, and then you fill out a form, you get paired with a mentor. So that's one of the things I'm involved in. And last year I was involved as a peer support worker for Student Life and the Peer Resources Leadership Center. So there's a bunch of different things that you can get involved in physically, there's a basketball and volleyball, different leagues as well, like rec leagues and stuff like that in the gym. And then there's also like non-recreational things like UFE lead, paid positions, volunteer positions like that.
That's great. Yeah, what I really love about UFE is there's just so many different areas to get involved, whether that's clubs and associations, rec and athletics, student life, student union. There's just so many different like pools and collaboration, and it's great. It's always a good time. We'll move on to Prab.
All right. As Caleb said before, there are so many clubs and associations and events that are organized at UFE. You can be part of any of those and check out the Campus Life website. They have so many events that you can be part of. For me, I do like participate in events based on my interests regularly, and as well as I guess I've been part of surveys as well. So that's a great way to contribute. And also I've been working as a lab assistant for most of my classes and being involved as a work study student. So that gave me like a great experience and exposure to new projects.
It's great. Thank you, Prab. Tanish.
Basically almost about everything every student panelist mentioned, but I like theater, and every fall there is a theater production at UFE. That's a great place, I think, and this fall I'll be participating in that one too, hopefully. And another resource, a great one, is that you can go to IT Lab. You can also join IT Lab, and then you can help students who have any questions and any problems regarding computer technicalities and then difficulties in computers, so they can also handle that. And I was involved in the making of glorification video, and also in the Facebook group page for UFP students who have any questions. And that's also a great place to get involved in, because you get to connect with many new students, and then you get to answer many of the questions that they have. Yeah.
Thank you, Tanish. Wow, so much great involvement from all you folks. It's great to hear, and yeah, so many resources to pull from, which is amazing. So we'll go to question 5. So with all that, how do you balance school and work and other commitments to stay on top of things? We'll go with Chloe.
As I mentioned before, I love my planner, so that's probably the biggest thing. But also know how much you can handle. Like I mentioned, I study history and English, and when I had to do my stats class for my BA, I knew that I would need to take a little bit more time to focus on getting stats done, and I had to be at the Math and Stats Center to get help with it. But I knew that, and I kind of took it into account. So I tried not to work at my job as much. I cut down a couple shifts just so I had a little bit more time to focus on it. Because if you have too much on your plate, you will get overwhelmed. So just kind of knowing your strengths and where you can put the more effort to kind of move your schedule around definitely helps.
I agree. Know your limits, play within it. Prab.
All right, as Chloe said, you should know your limits, so be within it. But I guess it is really important in order to like manage that kind of stress. You should make your health your priority, and also you should be aware of what deadlines you have and when are the things required. So if like I'm working and during my exams, I would just take some days off when I know I cannot match the limits of those deadlines. I would just cut down on my work. So you got to make your priorities, and you understand what to choose. So it's a balance of those. that helped me to manage both.
Great advice. Thank you, Prab. Tanish.
Yes, so as Chloe mentioned, I also have fall in love with planner system. Earlier, when I was getting started to the university, I thought, oh my God, there is no time. I have to work in the morning and then I have to have classes in the evening and I have to study at night. What will I do? Because I was just dividing it as like day, night thing. And once I start to plan things out, okay, 10 to 12 is my class, or 6 to 8 is my class. I have worked for like 9 to 2, 9 to 3. I have time between 3 to 7 or 3 to 6. In that way, I can manage everything at once. And there is more to the day when you start planning, when you start writing it down, when you start to see, okay, I have 3 hours left in this day, and I have 4 hours left in this day. And then you're like, oh, I have a lot of time. And I like to do that because apart from studies, personal life is very important. And I have to plan once a month outing with my friends, no matter what. I will just take a day off from my work and take a day off my studies, just whole day committed with my friends, go somewhere out, enjoy, and then reset it. Uh, Another point I want to mention is reset it. Some people forget how to reset if they go in a vacation mode. That's also important. So it's all about balancing everything. It's all about time management. Once again, I would like to say if you start planning things down ahead of your time, it's very helpful.
It's amazing advice. I could not agree more with everything that has been said so far. Altogether, it's been, yeah. And Caleb.
I think for the most part for me, just as being as a UFE mentor, a PRLC, peer support member, a full-time student, and just going everywhere as with friends and stuff, and also being a musician on the side as well. It's hard to like, it's definitely hard to like balance some stuff as well day to day and equally put a lot of effort into every single thing equally. So I think just knowing that things can change and being okay with that and kind of adapting to that, not necessarily like sticking to like a schedule, for example, like it is good to stick to a schedule, but also you want to know that things can change and also being cognizant of things that can change and then adapting to them. For example, if you had 2 hours like a day planned and it was 2 hours of schoolwork, you could do that at the same time each day and then kind of get in that state dependent learning where you know that's what you're going to do. And then also you can think of it, because I know a quote that was in my second year, I think, or first year, it was one of the two, but either way, that it said, if you're almost halfway up the mountain, just don't think about the bottom of it. Don't think about what's at the bottom. Don't look down. Just look at what and think of what the view will be after you've conquered that achievement. So I think that's something that's resonated with me and makes me like wonder and work harder for things, because then you know that you can achieve that goal. So also just making sure that you adapt and aren't too fixated on the little things about the schedules. So for example, like going back to the thing, if you are doing something for 2 hours, then maybe you reward yourself for like a half hour and then just get back at it. Or if something does change along those lines, just be prepared to make changes. So also staying one step ahead of your commitments as well, just to have that awareness of it.
Super great advice. I would like to say that with all this adaptation and balance and whatnot, university is, I promise you, university is not as scary as it sounds. It is truly one of the best roller coasters you can be on. That is the best way I could personally describe it. There's a lot of turns and loops and circles, but I promise you the ride is worth the experience, and you will truly feel that. I'm glad that there's been such great advice. I have a question from the audience, which is a very good question. I think a very good segue question. What do you wish you did differently in the first year. So we'll start with Prab on this one.
Right. So I think for my first semester itself, for the first 2 months, I was kind of like overwhelmed with everything. So I was trying to do everything on my own without seeking out help. I think which was the worst thing you could do. So then later on, like when I had time, I started exploring all the new resources and talking to other groups, how would they manage, and seeking help from instructors. I think that really kept me on track on my first semester. So that's what I would recommend everyone.
Great, thank you, Prab. We'll go to Caleb.
I think one of the main things for me in my first year that I could have done differently was I tried to do a lot of things at once. So that being, I tried to do the gym, I tried to do music, I tried to do everything course-wise, taking about 3 or 4 courses in the first or second semester. Something that kind of took a lot of toll on me because then I wasn't sure how much workload I would have. I wasn't sure how much time I'd have for anything else, and especially moving from a small town to with only one university that was basically just a little room and only one building, to working in a university that's basically a little mini Arkham City, or that's just a loop or a circle, and it has so many different buildings. That what's a B building, what's a G building, and why is B and G right next to each other, even though they're not next to each other in the same alphabet? So that's what was a lot of pressure to me, because also family wants you, also always wants you to do good. So I was kind of pressured into thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this well, and I have to do everything well. So I think just focusing on one thing at the start and then kind of branching out a little bit later on. It doesn't have to be like a year later. It can be once you're comfortable in the environment, you can just branch out right away. So I think just being comfortable. And I think that's probably what I should have done, is just take a little bit less and then specialize in one thing and then branch off to another thing, instead of just trying to take on everything at once and just learn everything at once.
Thank you, Caleb. We will go to Chloe.
One thing I kind of wish I did a little bit differently was take time to explore everything that was available on campus. I didn't realize that my campus life was really a thing until I was kind of wrapping up my second semester in my first year. So kind of like nearing the end of May, like after it finished, and being like, oh, there's lots of things on campus that I could have been a part of, got resources from. So taking the time to explore. Another thing that I kind of wish I did differently was I worked full time that summer, and then I kind of was too scared to tell my boss I couldn't keep working full time. So I just kept working, but I also was enrolled in 4 classes, and that was a little bit too much. So definitely, as we've mentioned, know your limits. And I definitely hit a wall my first semester. So don't be scared to tell your boss that you got to cut down your shifts. I now only work a couple shifts a week just because having extra money is nice to spend on the tacos in the S building and the poutine. But yeah, just those are the things I wish I did differently, but I'm not upset with where I am today.
Great advice. Great to hear. And Tanish.
Well, once again, every good advice everyone mentioned on the panelist, but what helped me, what I thought I should have done in my first semester was accessing the My Grad plan. Because I'm doing a bachelor in computer information systems, I also kind of wanted to do a diploma in that first, so that I have my degree, and then I have my diploma, sorry, and then I can just go and work in my field until I complete my degree. But I didn't know how to access my grad plan, so I just took random classes for my whole degree, not knowing that there are a certain amount of classes you require for completing your diploma program. So I think if I would have known that my grad plan is a thing, and then you can actually see all the classes you're taking, and then if you can see what credits you're getting, I would have done my diploma one semester early. So it's a great thing to do too. It's a very good resource if you guys want to check it out. It's called My Grad Plan.
Great advice, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, and to like kind of echo what is said and to add on, you know, I think, just really taking the time in your first like few weeks, month, and semester even to really get to know the university, your program, and how to get involved in all those things. I think in your first year, you learn a lot about. I think you learn a lot about yourself, as well as your passions and how you want to get involved and how you want to delegate your time, kind of growing up and through your journey. And I think just really familiarizing your stuff and your resources really, really, really help and guide where you can take your success and what you want to do. So definitely great advice and kind of my 2 cents as well on that. All right, and moving on to question 7. What is your preferred way to get around campus? Let's start with Prab.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. So is it like get onto campus or?
Oh yeah, sorry. What is your preferred way to get to campus and why, or get around campus?
So I guess my preferred way is to get transit and I come to the campus, and is because it is convenient. You get the campus card from UFE, as well as there's a bus stop just near the library. And when you do not know how to drive, it's the most convenient way.
Definitely, the shuttle service is running again too, from Abbotsford to Chilliwack. So it is a great resource and great way to get around, as well as public transit. We'll go Tanish.
So I live very nearby to my university. I just live at McCone Road. So usually I walk down, and what it does is it gives me free time to listen to music, which I love. And usually I also like to take the shuttle buses. I also come by cars sometimes, but sometimes there is a big problem with the parking. You don't get a space easily, and then your class is about to start in 5 minutes. So that's why I prefer walking or taking shuttle service.
Great, thank you. Caleb.
So for the first year, I guess this is probably going to be my first year of actually driving to campus. Before I used to just drive, and then my dad used to drive back and take the car, so I didn't have to park anywhere or pay for parking, which was nice. But now I'm probably going to have to actually use and buy the parking pass, or maybe just not drive and just walk from my house, which is about probably 20 minutes driving or 20 minutes walking and 8 minutes driving. So I think just basically like Tanish just wrote right now, planning ahead for your class. If you are driving, sometimes there can be parking spots, and sometimes there can't be right at the same time as your class. So maybe just planning like 20 minutes before your class, then you'll find a lot of parking spots. And then also at the back of the university near the dorms, there is a little hill that goes down. There is kind of like a little free parking there, so you can park there. And sometimes it's full, sometimes it's not. So maybe just check in there as like a little pro tip. There is some parking spots you can park there as well. That's kind of convenient that you can just park there and you don't have to pay for parking.
Great tips and tricks, Caleb. And Chloe.
I've been driving to UFE since I started. I live in like the way back of Mission. So there's no transit, and so I have been relying on my car. Some semesters I paid by the meter, and then other semesters I got a parking pass. I found that I only would get a parking pass if I was there at least 3 days a week or more. So if you're there Monday to Friday, I definitely think it's worth it to get the parking pass. but this upcoming semester, I'm only there Monday, Tuesday. So I'll probably just be paying at the meter, which, note for any new students, it does only take cash or credit card, not a debit card. That was tricky to find out my first day. I just kind of had to park and run to class and hope I didn't get a ticket. I didn't, but I don't recommend doing that all the time. But yeah, I like driving, and it has been mentioned that the parking lot does get pretty full. So I just kind of like to get there at least 20 minutes before class to kind of like drive around. It's kind of like the thrill of the hunt, like to find a parking spot. I don't know, it could be a little exciting sometimes. But yeah, that's what I prefer.
Awesome. Thank you, Chloe, and thank you, everyone. Right, next question. What is your favorite resource or service on campus, and why do you recommend it? Let's go with Prob.
All right. So my favorite resource on campus is Academic Success Center. It is a great resource since in my first year, it helped me a lot. For some of my programming classes, I was kind of struggling, but I got like free tutoring sessions, and also I got to meet like new people, especially like my seniors, since they were in the same program. So I got to make like new connections and also learn a lot of new strategies from them, like on how to manage all that. So it is a great resource for me, and I would recommend the same.
Great advice. Thank you, Prob. Tanish.
One of my favorite resources is financial aid, and this is a personal experience. That's why I honestly recommend it. There was a time when my parents were stuck in India, and all the savings were kind of running out. So my the financial aid department at UFB helped me to keep going, keep studying. So it's a great way. It's a great place if you ever feel that you're not that financially free and then you cannot take classes. You can always contact them. So that was my resource that helped me a lot.
Great advice. Thank you, Tanish. And Chloe.
I really, really like the academic advisors on campus. They're located in the Student Union building. They're on the 3rd floor. There's different advisors for all the different bachelors or the different kind of faculties. They kind of like special help you with that. I've been going to the same advisor since the 2nd semester of my first year, because I kind of finished my first year and thought, I don't know what I really want to minor in and where to go from here. And she's been really helpful with that and helping me figure it out. So kind of every semester I made an appointment to stop by just to be like, hi, am I still on the right track with what I decided? Because you need a certain amount of credits for everything. And I think my grad plan has been mentioned by a fellow panelist, which is very handy, but a little confusing to read at first. So the academic advisors are a great second pair of eyes. And they're just super helpful, and they want you to succeed in everything. So I definitely recommend that resource.
Thank you, Chloe. And Caleb.
I'm gonna be biased here and choose U of A lead as my as the favorite spot for me, or favorite kind of program for me at U of A, because all the student life is really nice, and it's free to just drop in and just hang out there. It's like another little study space. You can play the Switch or something with people as well there. But I think U of A lead is kind of the best thing for me at U of A, because there's so much stuff going on in the program that even though it's a mentorship program, it's mentoring first year students, it's kind of more than that at the same time, because then you learn how to foster different kinds of relationships with people. You can make new friends. Also, you can even make friends and become friends with your mentees and developing that connection with them. It's not just about them helping or you helping them. It's about them helping you as well. That's certainly what happened with me. I was helping one of my mentees in I think last year or the year before, and I learned a lot of stuff from them as well. They were from Vietnam, so it was kind of cool just to learn about what they like to do and how it works over there. It was a big time difference as well. I think 18 hours. So my night was their daytime, which is definitely fun trying to communicate through that kind of time difference. But yeah, just having that sense of community and lead was just great. You can go on different trips to, I think once we went to I think it was Vancouver. It wasn't Vancouver Island, but it was like a little island past North Vancouver. And there was a like old penitentiary there, which is kind of cool that we got to check out. Not inside, thankfully, but I'm sure people would have been scared by different ghosts or whatever. But yeah, there was like the penitentiary there, and then there was just a place to hang out over here, like a little lodge and stuff. So that was definitely nice. The part where the bathroom was or toilet flooded in my little lodge was not so nice, but that's beside the point.
Great. Thank you, Caleb. A lot of great ways and services provided. And thank you, everyone. All right. So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what is the best place to study on campus and why? So we'll start with Tanish on this one.
So the best place to study for myself is the S building. I'm currently in the S building. As Chloe mentioned earlier, that I'm not quite used to silence. I always like some crowded places. I think it helps me study better. And so there is always something going on in the S building. And then you also get a chance to meet your friends from your classes. And it's a great place to study. There is no interruptions at all. So I really like that building.
Definitely. I think there's a pretty unique balance in the sub building for I guess like a good mix of maybe quiet, loud, and food. So yeah, it's good and great people. So it's really good. Caleb.
I think for me, there's not really a best study space or really anything. It's kind of just like subjective to everyone and what fits everyone's needs and habits and personalities. So for me, I kind of like a little bit on the quieter side, just so I can study and focus on what I'm doing, because I tend to get distracted a lot and very easily. So if someone's even just walking by, I tend to just look around and see what's going on, even if there's like a little noise. So I tend to just like go to, for example, the library. You can book a little cubicle there. They have study rooms, little glass study rooms that you can book in for about an hour each, I think. And then you can book them for longer as well if you need to. But they're a great way just if you want to just do like a study session alone or with like a little friends group or just a group project. Then you don't have to be bothered by anyone going in there, and you can just put in your headphones or whatever and just study for however long you want. So I think that's good for quiet people. If you're a bit on the louder side and you like that kind of connection with reality, I guess, and just like talking to people as well and working that way, then I think the library is also good because there is some study space there as well, outside and around the edges of the library. Then if you're also a person who likes being in nature as well, then there is some study spaces outside as well, and the tables at outside of G building and the library as well, which is a B building. So different options as well for everyone.
Definitely. Thank you, Caleb. Prop.
All right. As Caleb said, it works everyone. It doesn't work for everyone, like every space. So everyone has their best study kind of place to study. But I guess library is overall the best place. But when it gets like too crowded, I would just go to like third floor for like B or D building. It's not too silent, but it also not too crowded. So it has worked so far, like really good place for me to study on campus.
Thank you, Bob and Chloe.
Most of the good places have been talked about already, but Prob kind of mentioned B and D building. Like there's benches kind of all around campus that have the little swingy table things that kind of come out. So you can find a place kind of anywhere. I've already mentioned that I really like the sub. I just like a louder environment, and there's a really great coffee shop there because what's a university student without coffee or tea or hot chocolate even? But yeah, the S building I really like. And then Caleb also mentioned that the library has those rooms that you can book, and I've used those for group studying. There's like a huge whiteboard on one of the walls, so we use that to like draw a map of Europe to like study for our European history class, and that was really useful. There's outlets, and you can kind of like chat and talk, and because it's glass, you're not disturbing anyone else in the library. So booking that room is really useful. There's also a lot of different student resource rooms. There's like the Bio and Chemistry Student Association put on the Science Center, which I know some science students like to book that for group lab work. It's just another little space for that. And a whole bunch of different student associations have rooms kind of scattered throughout campus to use as well. So those are other resource options.
Great, great options. Thank you, everyone, for that. To kind of segue into that, some classes are very difficult, and we kind of talked about where you can go for help, where you can go to study, but through your personal experience, what have you done to help yourself, and what do you do if you're just not getting it? What's your advice you can give to students? Let's start with Tanish.
Okay, so just to let you all know, I am very bad at mathematics and I get really stressed about it sometimes. So a great place that helped me during my STAT classes were Math and Stat Center. They mentored me and then they answered some of my questions and some of the difficulties that I had during my STAT classes. So that's a great place if you ever have any problems in mathematics or statistics. And it was very overwhelming. They would really help me with each and every question. They would explain me the detail. That was really helpful.
Thank you, Tanish. We'll go with Prab.
All right. For me, if I'm like really stuck in some course, so the first thing I would just reach out to my instructor to discuss like what resources can help me out, and as well as I would study for like with my friends or like my classmates to get the real idea of all the concepts that I'm not getting. And the other resource I would use is like, of course, the Academic Success Center. So that if I'm really struggling, then like these are the 3 resources that has like helped me so far to get through my difficult courses.
Great, thank you, Prab. And Chloe.
The professor's office hours, 100%. Like when you get your syllabus in the first week for each class, professors will have office hours that you can attend. If you're in online classes, they'll have a kind of time slot where you can join them on either the Blackboard kind of Zoom, or I think it's Blackboard Collaborate, that's what it's called, or Zoom, depending on whatever the professor uses. You can meet with them and go over things if you have like genuine questions. And I found in my experience that professors really notice that, and they'll see that you're really trying to put in the work. And they just want to help you and see you succeed. So definitely take note of their office hours and email them. Like just kind of bug your professors for help. That's what they're there for, right? They're not there to just show you a PowerPoint and leave. If you need more in-depth help with them, definitely bug them.
Great, thank you, Chloe. And Caleb.
So for me, I think just having one of the best things would be just asking peers, getting to know them, and just building a relationship with all your peers, or like some of them just have a core group. And yeah, just do something with the peers because they're gonna be if most likely if you're in the second or third year, you're probably going to see them in your program and throughout the program till the end, and most of them are going to be in the same class as you. So I think just getting to know them early and having a relationship and a rapport with them to actually get to know them and then possibly do some work with them as well, that'd be beneficial for everyone, because then you're not only building friendships, you're also building yourself and who can help people who can help you, and you can help them as well. Then it kind of goes both ways. So it helps into tying with the stress. So if you do have more friends and stuff, you can ask them, because for example, at night, I don't think teachers really would answer at probably midnight unless they're really, it's like a super important urgent thing, or if they're just staying up and things like that. So most of the time, friends will make a little bit more time for you at later hours than profs probably will. So I think just doing that, and also the academic success center, they are your peers. They've been in that situation as just like you. Everyone's been in the same situation, so they're more than happy to book tutoring and help you out with the different problems or different concerns you may have. Probably not at night, at midnight, because it's definitely not going to be open at midnight, but there's other ways you can get help at midnight as well. So try not to worry too much about it, and yeah, just also be yourself, be genuine, and yeah, I think that'll help you in the long run, just making friends.
Couldn't agree more with everything that is said. Yeah, I know there's on top of the great resources, making friends is super important. Just meeting people in your class. There may be strategies and ways that someone goes about dealing with, let's say, like a math equation, or a way to memorize something that may help you. And it really helps getting to know people in your programs, people in the university, because there's so much knowledge and things you can learn from literally like any experience. And I truly believe that it can help you with any aspect of your life, so long as you use the resources and get involved. There's a lot of those at UFE. So we are coming to our final question here, but with that being said, if there's any more questions you would like answered, please shoot them in the Q&A section or in the chat here, and we can get to answering them. Yeah. Hope this has all been very helpful so far. But coming to the last question here, what has been your best experience at UFE so far? Why is it your favorite? So we'll start off here with Prab.
Right. Okay. So I guess for all the events that I have been involved in at UFE so far, the experience was really great, because you get to meet new people, and for sure you learn new things. But if I would say for the best one, I guess for me, this is the best one, since I got to share my experience with all the new students. And if one thing could help them from my experience, I would be really glad for that.
Great, thank you, Prab. Chloe.
Kind of the same as Prab. I've really enjoyed being an orientation ambassador and just kind of being able to help out with the new students with my experiences. So like once you get yourself really used to campus, I highly recommend doing it and helping out the new students, because we all know the position you're in. We've all been new students. So there's no one better to really help you than students who have gone through it as well. I'll also say, like with event wise, I've really enjoyed the long night against procrastination. There's just a lot of fun games. It's a really great environment to just be in. It's lots of fun, and there's therapy dogs, which are just great. Which are also in the student life room in the sub, which is very fun. And then also going to like the sporting events. Their home games are on Fridays or Saturdays, and I have a couple of friends on the volleyball team. So going and watching them play on Fridays or Saturdays, and it's free for you to go with just your campus card. You get to wear green and cheer them on. It's just like another fun thing to do. So those are probably like my top three.
Great, thank you, Chloe. And we'll go with Caleb.
I was actually just answering a Q&A question there. So is it possible to repeat the question? Because I was kind of just reading and devoting my attention to that by accident.
Yeah, no worries at all. So what has been your best experience at UFB so far, and why is it your favorite?
Oh yeah, okay. So that's definitely gonna be an easy one for me because I was doing the carousel interview actually for lead, again about lead, but yeah, I was doing the first year carousel interview because I was a mentee for the second year that, or just after the inaugural year. So I've basically been there since the start of the UFE lead. And I was doing the carousel interview and I thought I absolutely did horrible because I'm just a person who never talks at all and just tries to like talk to people, but mostly get a lot of like social anxiety, and I'm mostly like a person who usually just does a lot of the work himself in like groups and stuff. So I think that was the hard part, just trying to like get used to like talking to people and also interacting and doing the different things that they had in lead, especially when it was one of the I guess exercises was trying to build something without talking to anyone. So you had to write it down. You had to like do hand signals, which was kind of a different interesting spin on it, which I liked, but I thought I did horrible on it because I didn't basically say anything throughout the whole time of the interview, the carousel interview. So I was just doing a lot of exercises and different activities. I thought I absolutely did horrible, but then it said you've been hired, and I was like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And I was like, I don't know how in the name of anything that I do that, but I'm really glad I did that. So that was probably the best experience for me because I proved to lead. I guess I was doing something right.
Great, thank you, Caleb. And Tanish.
This thing has been one of my top three experiences. Just interacting with all of the students and just sharing your experiences, as I've said, it's very helpful. And one of my other experiences that I had was futsal. We have drop-in futsal leagues, I guess every Tuesdays or Mondays, and it was a very good experience for me. Personally, I like soccer, so futsal was very fun for me, and it was a very good experience just to playing with new people and then getting to know all of them, their programs. Well, once you come to the university, you get to see the diversity of the university, and that helped me a lot too. So that was a very good experience I had.
Great, thank you, Tanish. And yeah, no, and as for myself, definitely like the best experiences on top of what everyone else has said, as there may be some overlap, is, you know, definitely just getting involved and meeting people. Like that has truly been like the most positive and best, like one of the most life-changing things is just getting involved, because you never know what door is going to open and where it's going to take you. And I think the mystery in that, there is beauty to it. And it's like I said, back to the roller coaster analogy, you never know what turns coming next, and it's a really fun ride until you get to the end of your post-secondary journey. So definitely utilize all the services you can, get to meet people, get to know people, get to have fun, like really have fun and make the most out of your post-secondary experience, because it is what you make it. And you know, there's a lot of great ways to get involved and a lot of good resources at UFE, and you will really enjoy your time out here. So I'm very excited for all of you, and thank you for coming out today. And with that, if there's no other questions, as I can't see any added to the chat. Thank you so much for attending, and for everyone coming out. Thank you to the panelists for sharing your insight and advice. We really hope this all helped everyone. And I know coming to university can bring up a lot of different feelings and emotions, but I hope this event really helped you feel more comfortable and prepared, and excited for your experience at UFE. And we look forward to seeing you all next week in the first week of classes. We hope that you'll come by, say hi, connect with us, connect with everyone on campus. And with that, enjoy the rest of your week. And again, thank you for coming out to How to University student panel. And we look forward to seeing you all in person.